I thought I had more time to fix my marriage. Then my wife served me divorce papers after a year of secretly planning her escape, and I deserved every second of it. It's been 3 weeks since my wife told me she wanted a divorce. 3 weeks since my world cracked open, and I've been standing in the rubble ever since, not really knowing how to start picking up the pieces. I know, without a doubt, I'm going to come across badly here. I'm not here to paint myself as a victim, because I'm not. I stepped outside of my marriage, and the blame sits squarely with me. No one else. There's no way to soften what I did or justify it. There's no excuse for cheating on my wife. I work in the Crown Attorney's office. The job demands long hours, endless deadlines, and the kind of stress that starts to feel like part of your DNA after a while. My wife and I both understood that when I took the job. She always supported me, even when the workload took me away from her and our kids more often than not. Somewhere along the line, though, I let that stress blur the lines. I crossed a line I never should have approached. I had an affair with another attorney. She's married too, with children of her own. Neither of us can claim ignorance or innocence here. We both knew exactly what we were doing and how devastating it could be to the people who trusted us most. I make no excuses, but I'll be honest, until recently, I didn't fully grasp how deep the damage ran. My brother went through a divorce a few years ago. I remember watching his life unravel and thinking how I'd never end up in his shoes. I'd never let things get that far. But here I am, sitting in the wreckage of my marriage, knowing that I was the one who lit the match. 3 weeks ago, my wife sat me down and told me she knew about everything. She knew about the affair. I still don't know how she found out. She didn't tell me the details, and honestly, I don't know if I could have handled hearing them. What staggered me the most wasn't just that she knew, but that she'd known for almost a year. A year. A full year of carrying that weight silently. I had no clue. She didn't act any different. She didn't grow cold or distant. There were no late-night arguments, no slammed doors, no icy silences at the dinner table. She was still the same warm, bright woman I married. The same woman who smiled at me across the kitchen while our kids played on the floor. Who kissed me goodbye when I left for work and welcomed me home when I dragged myself through the door at night. I think that's what guts me the most. She carried that betrayal inside her, day after day, and never once lashed out at me for it. Instead, she quietly got her affairs in order. She didn't just pack a bag and leave in the heat of the moment. No, she planned. She got smart about it. When I was at work, she started doing Instacart and Uber Eats. She tucked the money away. She took free online classes through the Adult Education Center. She researched, studied, and decided she wanted to start night school to earn a degree. Somewhere along the way, she got a job. A good job. After that, she found an apartment. She even lined up a daycare for our 18-month-old and 3-year-old. She did all of this quietly, methodically, while still making dinner, reading bedtime stories, and showing up as a mother and wife like nothing was wrong. The day after she told me she knew, she moved out. Just like that. Clean, calm, decisive. She didn't tell anyone else about the affair either. Not until she'd left. Only after she was gone did she start to tell people why. And now I'm sitting here, trying to process the gravity of what I've lost and what I threw away. I can't even be angry at how smoothly she pulled it off. If anything, I'm in awe of her strength. It takes a rare kind of composure to bear that kind of pain quietly and still move forward, not out of revenge, but out of self-respect. She didn't scream or rage or destroy things on her way out. She just chose herself, chose her future, chose to walk away from someone who didn't honor her trust. I regret hurting her more than I can express. Every day since she left has been a hollow echo of the life we built together. I come home to silence. No toys scattered on the floor. No small voices calling Daddy. No soft smile waiting for me in the kitchen. I don't know what the future holds from here. I don't know if I'll ever find a way to fix what I broke. Maybe I don't deserve to. But I do know this. She deserved better than what I gave her. And even though it's too late now, I can't stop wishing I'd realized it sooner. After my wife got the job, she told her sister she was leaving me. But not why. Even then, even with her sister, someone she'd always been close to, she held back the full story. Her sister co-signed on the lease for her new apartment, helped her secure a place to live, but she didn't get the whole truth until after my wife had moved out. That part still sticks in my mind in a way I can't shake. My wife said she kept everything to herself because she didn't want anyone confronting me or tipping me off before she was ready to leave. She wanted to make sure everything was lined up, clean and precise, so that when she went, she could go without any drama, without the risk of being persuaded to stay or talked out of her decision. Even her sister, her own sister, only found out less than a month before she moved. And even then, it was just that she was leaving me, not why. I remember seeing her sister a couple times in those weeks leading up to it. Just like my wife, she didn't give anything away. No strange looks, no cold shoulder, no hint that she knew my secret or that something was about to change. She was polite, warm even, the same as always. That's what shakes me, looking back now. How seamlessly my wife held it all together. How much grace she showed in keeping her composure. It makes me realize I never gave her enough credit for her strength. I was so blind. I never knew my wife had gotten a job. Never knew she was taking online classes. Never knew she was building an exit plan right under my nose while smiling at me across the dinner table. I always thought I was perceptive, that I'd notice if something in my marriage was falling apart. But she was deliberate, quiet, careful. She protected her plans like she was protecting herself, and maybe in a way, she was. Maybe she knew if I had caught on early, I would have tried to talk her out of it. Maybe deep down, she didn't want to give me that chance. After she left, she told my colleague's husband about the affair. Word spread from there. My personal failure was no longer just ours to carry. It belonged to other people now, too. I don't know why I thought I could keep it quiet, or why I believed we could maybe sweep it under the rug and try marriage counseling. Somewhere in the back of my mind, I always assumed if the worst happened, we'd at least sit in front of a therapist and try to fix it. That maybe my wife would yell, cry, rage, but still stay. That's not how it happened. She didn't want confrontation. She wanted distance. And she executed that distance perfectly. I needed to get all this out. I've already had enough of my life dragged into the open, enough people knowing what I did. Enough people looking at me like I'm less than the man they thought I was. I don't blame them. They're right. I earned every bit of it. Now, my wife will only talk to me about our kids. We've agreed, for now, to share time with them. 50-50 custody is the norm where we live, and she says she won't contest that in the divorce. And I believe her. Even now, I believe she'll do exactly what she says, the same way she did exactly what she planned when she left. She's consistent like that. Reliable. Steady. Qualities I never fully appreciated until I shattered them. We talk about the kids, their daycare schedules, doctor's appointments, drop-offs, and pickups. That's it. No small talk. No lingering questions about how I'm doing. No reminiscing about the life we shared. It's all business, all about the kids. The boundaries are sharp and clear, and she holds them firmly. The house feels wrong without her. It echoes. It's too quiet. Her presence is gone in a way that feels unnatural. Even when she and the kids are away for a weekend, it never felt like this. This is permanent. This is final. I walk into the kitchen and instinctively glance toward the counter where she used to make coffee in the mornings. I walk past the hall closet and expect to see her coat. Little things catch me off guard. Her toothbrush is gone from the bathroom. Her books are off the shelf. Her scent is fading from the sheets. I sit alone in the living room and realize there's no reason to keep the TV on just for noise anymore. The emptiness presses in around me. I know I was wrong. I know I made the worst mistake of my life. I threw away something solid and beautiful for something fleeting and meaningless. I had watched my brother go through a divorce and swore I'd never be that man. But here I am, following the same path, making the same painful realizations too late. It still feels surreal. 3 weeks. That's how long she's been gone. 3 weeks since she's had her own job, her own place. 3 weeks since I've been living in the silence, adjusting to the idea that soon I'll legally be divorced. That the life I built with her, the family I started, is now going to look different forever. Everyone's angry at me. Friends, family, colleagues. People I've known for years look at me differently now. Some don't look at all. I don't even blame them. How could I? I earned their disappointment. You don't have to tell me I'm wrong. I already know. I've replayed it all in my mind 1,000 times, and every time, I land in the same place. This is the biggest regret of my life. I wish I had chosen differently. I wish I had valued what I had instead of gambling it away for nothing. But wishes don't rewind time. And now all I can do is sit in what I've made and try to be the best father I can be, even if I'll never again be the husband I once promised I'd be. I know my marriage ending is my fault. No one has to remind me. I remind myself every morning the second my eyes open. I don't even know why I cheated on my wife, the best woman I've ever known. The kindest, strongest, most grounded person I've ever had in my life. I've turned the question over in my head 1,000 ways, and none of the answers sound like anything but selfishness. That's what it was. Selfishness. Weakness. I don't care if anyone calls me names, talks behind my back, or piles their anger on me. I've already called myself worse. I've already done more damage to myself than anyone else ever could. No insult anyone throws at me is something I haven't already beaten myself up with in the quietest hours of the night. Getting those papers, that was rock bottom. Before that, some part of me still clung to a thread of denial. A faint, foolish hope that maybe time would slow things down. That maybe she'd hesitate. Maybe we'd have a long talk, or maybe the idea of formal divorce would feel too heavy and she'd reconsider. But no. When I opened that envelope and saw the stamped, clinical weight of those documents, everything sunk into place with a finality I hadn't prepared for. The words on those pages didn't just spell out legal separation, they spelled out exactly how badly I'd broken what we built. Exactly how irreversibly I'd lost her. I didn't even know she had a lawyer yet. I should have known better. I'm an attorney myself. Sure, not in family law, but I know how these processes work. I thought I had more time. I thought it would take longer to line up counsel. I figured lawyers from firms were expensive, and since I knew we weren't wealthy, I assumed she'd need months to save up or make arrangements. But she outpaced me again, like she always did. Quiet, meticulous, methodical. Turns out she'd found a lawyer through a charity, one of those organizations that helps people re-enter the workforce or regain independence after long absences. Of course she did. Of course she found a way without me ever noticing. Everyone around her is adamant that they aren't giving her any financial help. I believe them. Because that's who she is, fiercely self-sufficient when she makes up her mind. She told me that herself, clear as day, when she left. She wanted to stand on her own 2 feet before she walked away. That's why she got the job first. Why she saved up. Why she mapped everything out to the smallest detail before making her move. She made sure she wouldn't have to depend on anyone, especially not me, when the time came to file. And now I've got the papers to prove it. Every time I look at them, it's like someone drops a lead weight straight into my gut. A dull, heavy ache that doesn't ease up. They sit on the edge of my desk at home. I can't bring myself to file them away properly yet. I don't know if it's guilt or self-punishment, but I keep them visible. Maybe some part of me thinks I deserve to see them every day, to be reminded every time I walk past them of exactly what I threw away. Even though it's been a month, none of this feels real yet. Not truly. You'd think after 4 weeks the shock would wear off, but it hasn't. I still reach for her side of the bed in the morning before I remember she's not there. I still pull into the driveway after work and instinctively look at the window to see if her car is parked outside. I still catch myself thinking I need to tell her something funny about my day before the reality settles in again like a brick to the chest. My wife doesn't live here anymore. My wife has a job now, one she got all on her own. I don't get to see my kids every single day. That one cuts deep. Deeper than I think I even fully understand yet. I was always home in time for dinner. Always the one reading bedtime stories, tucking them in, hearing about their little victories and frustrations from school and daycare. Now there are days when I don't hear their voices at all. Days when the house feels too quiet, too still, and I sit alone at the kitchen table wondering what they're doing, whether they're laughing about something I'll never get to hear about. I did this. I know that. I am the biggest idiot for ruining my marriage. For throwing away a life that most people spend decades dreaming about building. I know some people lose marriages because of tragedy or incompatibility or life circumstances beyond their control. Not me. Mine crumbled because of my own hand. My own reckless, stupid decisions. I have the papers to prove it now. That weight of ink and official language that confirms what my gut has known since the moment she walked out the door. It's official now. Irrevocable. I'm going to be divorced. I don't know if that word will ever feel less alien on my tongue. Divorced. It still feels like it belongs to other people. To my brother. To old colleagues. To acquaintances who sat in coffee shops telling me their own horror stories of failed marriages. Not to me. Not to the man who stood under that arch with her, slipping a ring onto her hand and promising forever. Not to the man who once believed, deep in his bones, that he'd be different. That he'd never take for granted the woman who had stood beside him through thick and thin. And yet here I am, sitting alone. Divorce papers sitting on my desk like a monument to the worst mistake of my life. Watching everything I took for granted slip away day by day, knowing I have no one to blame but myself. If there's one thing I've learned from all of this, it's that trust is a delicate thing. Far more delicate than I ever gave it credit for. I thought love would be enough to cover the cracks, that apologies could patch over betrayal if I just said the right words often enough. I see now how wrong I was. When I crossed that line, I didn't just betray my wife. I shattered something we had built carefully, quietly, over years. I didn't realize that while I was making selfish choices, she was making quiet plans. Plans to reclaim her dignity, her independence, and her peace. The truth is, love isn't a shield against consequences. Respect and loyalty are not guarantees just because you share a home or a history. They're earned every day through small actions, and they can be lost in a single moment of weakness. I didn't just lose a marriage. I lost the trust of the best person I've ever known. And no matter how much I wish I could take it back, I know now. Some doors close for good.